going to talk about the Scorpio full moon, and it's very important. I sound horrible because my son gave me another cold. So he's fine, he's running around. But I am the person who was like lying in bed for the last couple of days. So I sound like a storm went over me. So just and I may like snort a little bit, which grosses my husband out. Since I have a nose ring, a nose piercing, it's very hard to blow my nose, right? Anyways, that's life. So we are going to talk about the Scorpio full moon, and we are also gonna look at somebody's chart and how that is hitting on his chart, which I'm actually very interested to see. Um, thank you, Jonathan. You're kind. And we are going to take questions as well. Let me know if you have questions, and I can answer on how my best of my ability. And if you hate astrology and tarot reading, you think it's ridiculous and non-scientific, you're free to leave. Nobody is holding you hostage here. Okay, just be kind in the comment section and the chat, please. Thank you. All right. And Jenny, you want to go first? Look at this, guys. Would you be able to share your screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And we have a Scorpio full moon. While she's pulling it up, I'm going to say that I am a Scorpio rising, and this full moon is hitting me really, really hard in a way, at least by my physical self, because I am sick. And the rest, I will just see how it pans
Oh.
out. Awesome. 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 Okay, Jenny, you want to start talking about it? Go ahead.
So Scorpio full moon. What do we know about a full moon and what do we know about Scorpio? Because that's usually kind of like the math problem that
Yeah.
we consider when we're doing something like this.
Yeah.
When we're talking about a full moon, we're talking about illumination. I would even say is sort of unveiling,
Yeah.
even though it's not like it doesn't necessarily have to be major or huge. Now, if you've got it on an angle like 1, 4, 7, or 10 in your chart,
Mm-hmm.
it might be, well, it will be a lot louder than if it's anywhere else. But consider Scorpios to kind of like be an address on a house. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to look for Scorpio, and Scorpio is right here.
Yeah.
And that tells us that Scorpio is in the 4th house.
Oh. So
Yeah.
like home, right? So
Right.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
So what we've got going on here is immediately we know there's going to be some sort of illumination in the home, the house, the private life, or when you're Donald Trump, the nation. This
Mm,
is actually like the land
land.
that we've
Okay.
got of America. But it could also be just as something as his dwelling or inner thoughts, inner feelings, and in the case of Scorpio, inner fears and things that we would rather keep secret. So today, things that we would look for in a 4th house Scorpio chart for a full moon is going to be things like revelations around property, ballroom, uh,
We have
things that we would like build in secret. So like maybe we're thinking about um, what's going on under the ballroom, like what's happening in that bunker.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and it happened. What was the degree?
So I have a like a basic question for you. So
Ask me.
if you said that IC is Scorpio, for him is this what do we how do we like how does that play out? Like when I see like I'm very novice astrologer. Like I don't even call myself, I'm very astrology enthusiast. So
I
just
love that.
yeah. So I see it says I see, and then the
Mhm.
I normally, if the house that it is in, the opposite house also kind of gets into play, right? Somehow
Yes.
yeah. So and
So
his
this is the most the IC is the most private part. The 4th house is considered in ancient texts as the subterranean house, but think of subterranean as micro and macro, right? So we're going to think of like on the macro, it's the underworld. It's
yeah,
literally digging into the dirt.
yeah,
It's also our very private selves, the places that we don't like to to offer to other people, the places that we only really share with others when we're comfortable.
Mhm.
It's us at home. It can also represent things of our past. And I've seen it come up a lot in childhood, like the quality of upbringing or
Mhm.
the experience of upbringing. There's some other things to look at with stuff like that, but it can be very early and formative.
Okay.
Now, on the contrary to that, the MC is the most public part of
Yeah.
the chart.
Oh, wow. Okay. That is
So
Taurus. Yeah, for him.
yeah, exactly. So that'll
Mm,
be the 10th house of Taurus.
mhm,
Now, the way that I read astrology is with whole sign houses. If
mm,
you're looking at a chart that has Placidus houses or other quadrant houses and things like that, it's going to be a little bit different. But for me, the IC and the MC actually float. They
mhm.
can be all the way in the 12th house, they can be all the way in the 6th. It just depends on um, the city and the place where the native was born or the event that you're looking at is taking place. But in this case, because that MC, or I'm sorry, because the IC is in the 4th house, like the most ego-y part of
Mhm,
him,
mhm.
the very core essence
Yeah.
is going to be affected. And I'm trying to see where that
So a few of the things that jumped out
oh,
that you
go
said,
ahead.
Jenny. One thing is you said like digging the dirt. I don't know why. I just thought about that New Mexico Zorro Ranch thing. I don't know why that is. That would be so Scorpio. Like if you it like
Investigative for sure. Yeah.
yeah, if it like literally digging stuff out of the dirt, right? I
Mhm.
mean, in the most physical sense that has been buried in his homeland. I don't know, like maybe New Mexico doesn't count as his home, but in the sense that he is the
It
ruler, right?
but it counts as land,
His
and it
land.
counts as
Exactly.
secrets, and it counts as something that would be investigated.
Yes, yes. I also
And, because this full moon happened today at 11. Ooh,
I thought it's at 1:32 Eastern time, right? It hasn't happened yet.
oh, no, I meant 11 degrees Scorpio.
Oh,
I'm
11
sorry,
degrees
I
north.
thought that there was, like, uh yeah. So it was at 11 degrees Scorpio, and because of that, we know that his natal 1st house Pluto was involved with that because that's gonna be a square.
Mhm. Okay. So what
Because
does
that's
that
at 10 degrees Leo.
so what does that
So
mean?
things that we are likely experiencing is going to be needing to control.
I see.
So and like I was saying, a needing to control whatever is being
Mhm.
excavated,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
escalator, brought
Yeah.
up, surfacing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And something that if you haven't really been paying attention a lot to things like uh transits and signs, like if you're an astrology novice, something that I would highly consider thinking about is exactly the impact of Leo Pluto in all of the boomers that are going around right now, and how that level of control just cannot be separated from them.
Makes
I
sense.
think it
Yeah.
was Janet Mills just dropped out
Yep.
of
Yeah. Of
of the
the main race.
Senate
Yeah.
race in
Yeah. Maine. Yeah.
Maine.
Yeah.
She's like an octogenarian.
Yeah.
You can't they won't let go.
Yeah.
So I want you to think about that in that level of control when it is in your 1st house and it is something that you just cannot let go of.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
that is putting a lot of pressure
Yeah.
on this full moon. So again, that's the like this is very intense. That's the best way to put it. This is really
Yeah.
intense, you
It is.
guys.
And plus, this whole month is going to be a little bit more intense because we have two full moons, like kind of bookended, right? The first, and then at the end of the month, we have
Yeah,
the
we got blue moons.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I would,
So what we're looking at today with oh, I'm sorry.
I'm no, I'm saying that if you look at my May forecast, it kind of tells the story that it is pretty intense in the sense that there are going to be significant events connected to him. So I am I know that my April forecast had the last card that we haven't seen yet happening. With that kitchen cabinet, we had the discussion, right? That the person who's lying in his own kitchen with all the 10 swords at the back, and people pointed out, okay, kitchen cabinets. Okay, what does that? Is that the most literal sense? I think that is where we are going for. But my, the shadow card was High Priestess, which means everything is happening in the in the secret, right? So
Mhm.
I do think, even like, I know Jenny also asked me that question a few days ago, that are we crazy that we think that things have already been set in motion? I said I don't think we are, because I also think that based on my reading, things are already been set in motion. I am going to make a little bolder prediction. I think we gave it 6 weeks from this full moon, and we will probably see him gone, like gone from office. I mean, I don't know what Jenny has to say based on the chart, but I think we have discussed that that would be a very realistic prediction to go with. I don't know how it's going to happen. I know I've always said the story that it will look very much like a Nixon exit. I said it will look like it, not necessarily the exact same event where Nixon didn't want to leave. He wanted to forcibly stay in power. We all know that. Only when he found out that they had enough votes to impeach and convict him, that's when he left. He resigned, right?
Mhm.
So, so I'm saying that it would be a very similar thing, but it will not come in the outfit of impeachment. It will be a different outfit. So,
I I don't think that, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious to anyone who remotely pays attention. The man's not gonna resign. He's not gonna
yeah,
resign.
yeah.
Um, I am actually of the opinion that there has been something that's transpired behind the scenes.
hmm
We as the public has just not been advised of it yet. I know that sounds really conspiracy theory, and I know it sounds really vague, but my sense of it was something along the lines of JD Vance already being in control of everything, and Trump is just kind of there, um, playing the role of president. Like he's just up there as a sock puppet while other people in distraction, while other people are doing things so that we're not paying attention to that.
hmm
And I'm not necessarily saying that's actually what happened. I want to be clear about that. But it's something weird like that. It's not necessarily um some grand conspiracy. It could be something very minuscule, you know. I don't know.
hmm
But when I sit back and I tell myself a story about what this astrology says to me, I'm prepared to say there's something goofy going on.
Yeah, I'm also on the same page, because based on the reading, I'm just clearly going to based off that intuition. It tells me something very fishy is going on, because even today I saw a clip of him being asked, like, why aren't you going to Congress for, like, because the 60-day war part, that thing is coming to a close, right? So he needs additional congressional approval to go for, like, keep going at, like, Iran. So he said, everybody does it without the congressional approval. Why should I go to Congress? Like, he is completely removed of the fact that he is coming to that 60-day thing, and he doesn't even know that a president who has literally is involved in discussions should at least know that his time is coming to an end. Now he has to get congressional approval. That alone kind of tells me that he has no idea. Like, they're having meetings without him, they're having all of these conversations in situation room without him. Like,
Mhm.
he's not even within the loop. So I think they are maybe slowly kind of like fading him out in a way. And then,
Sundowning. It's like they're
yeah,
sundowning for him. Yeah.
yeah, and then eventually maybe we will get to know by June and July that it is going to be a succession, because surprisingly, the King Charles thing that happened, my cards were about succession. And I think Jonathan pointed out that could it be both ways? I said, yeah, because King Charles is also, he's old, right? He also needs a successor. I initially thought that, okay, is he talking like to have like a good relationship while he has his successor come in? But at that time when I read it, like, I was like, putting it together as a big picture, I'm like, maybe he's also looking at that this is going to shit. Like this is a total like a group project in collapse. So maybe he's kind of like making sure that the successor who is here can also have like the ability to understand what's going on in the middle of the globe, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's both ways, and I feel like it was so poignant that this month I had the resigns office card in my April, and as well as the successor card popping up. I think we are probably very close, very very close. um
I
yeah,
think when so it's at the end of June,
end of June.
June 30th,
Yeah.
that Jupiter finishes its transit through Cancer and enters his first house of Leo.
Mm-hmm.
When when Jupiter gets to the 25th degree here, first of all, when it gets to the 23rd degree and it's kind of hooking up here with his natal Saturn,
Yeah.
that is going to be, that kind of signals a new cycle for him in regards to stuff around 12th house Cancer. Like
Mm-hmm.
12th house items, so like self undoing,
Yeah, self-funding and
prison,
invis.
boundaries,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's Saturn is going to restrict. And Saturn actually wins when it's in Cancer or when it's in 12th house because it's the place where it rejoices.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be, even if you were to look at this and say, oh, well, Saturn doesn't really do well in Cancer. No, it doesn't do well in Cancer, but it does do very well in the 12th house. It knows what's expected of it in the 12th house and the work that it has to do there. So I would anticipate once Jupiter hits around the 23rd degree, I think it's like at 18-ish now, but when it hits the 23rd degree of Cancer, Jupiter is going to start a process of wrapping something up big time.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it hits the 25th degree, we're going to start seeing benefits and comfort
Mm-hmm.
around, like, I would say maybe a
Mm-hmm.
payoff
Mm-hmm.
of something that's going on here.
Mm.
And then as soon as Jupiter hits 00 Leo, like Trump's ego is what it is ordinarily. Jupiter blows things up
Yeah.
enormously.
Yeah. Is Jupiter really exalted in his natal chart, or is it like kind of like not that great?
No, Jupiter in his natal chart is in third house of Libra.
Mhm.
So it's not exalted in his natal chart, but it is exalted up here in his 12th house as it
Yeah.
transits through
Right
Cancer.
now. Right now. Yeah. So how would you say like that kind of materialized then during this whole time? I mean, he's in the headlines. Like if I look at Jupiter in that way, like he's doing weird shit like every day, and people. I think that is more like I think when Jupiter was going retrograde in Cancer, like last year after the labor, like I think the Labor Day weekend, that's when he was like disappeared. He was like not
Right.
there, and right.
Yeah.
So that is like the diminished Jupiter situation for him. I'm just trying to draw a contrast here. And right now, if it is going forward in Cancer, that means he's like doing random shit, random things, canceling this, and saying weird stuff that he's gonna regret later.
Yeah.
So that kind of things. Okay, makes sense.
What I would anticipate this to look like is, like you said, he's always in look at me mode to
Yeah,
begin with.
yeah, yeah.
What I anticipate is there being some sort of trigger event that makes him even more obsessive about his image, who he is, his name being out, just like blanketing
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the,
Yeah,
the entire world.
yeah.
Um, so it's almost as if something news of some sort were to come out, or a restriction of some kind
Yeah.
were to happen that would make him lose his mind.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah.
It's very, in my opinion, it's very Mad King-esque. Like, we
Yeah,
needed
yeah.
Jaime Lannister to come in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was kind of so poetic with the king's visit. Like, oh my God, like it cannot like the nature cannot, universe cannot get any more sarcastic than that, right? I mean, that was so on the nose. I don't know
Yeah,
anybody.
I was watching Charles' speech and I was like, our forefathers, like, it was a great speech. It was everything that needed to be said. And I get my conspiracy theory hat on and I can't help it. But I was like, this, like, he knows what he's doing. He
Yeah,
knows that Trump is he's the only person that Trump will listen to because he actually is
aspires
a
to be a king.
king.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
So, Charles came in, it was a great speech, it was exactly what needed to be said, it was the exact visual that we needed to have of unity in the house, and I just sat there and I was like, "I cannot imagine what Alexander Hamilton would
would
say
yeah, yeah. Oh,
as
that's
an immigrant
yeah, yeah.
at this scene," and I think it speaks volumes of the relationship that we were able to build
Hmm.
as after, the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812 and our vast history of fighting with each other,
Yeah,
um, that we were able to get to this point. So that's
yeah.
just
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
stuff is bananas.
I definitely agree. Although I do feel very differently about the king, given to the history with my country or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, of course,
But I
I'm
mean,
sure.
but I mean, I understand. Like, but when like when people try to whitewash the fact that India benefited from the British, we were like we were looted and plundered. So
The
that's
caste
there.
system, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So, but I do agree that he made the points that were be needed to be made by, but it would not be effective if a Democrat made it or his Republican, cronies made it. I
right.
think coming from somebody he looks up to, like if, say, for example, if Vladimir Putin talks about democracy and that would be kind of like a thing that he would like. Oh my God, that's a totally different thing that I've never heard before. Like it's totally foreign. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So what would you say that the fourth house and the 10th house kind of like interacting with the Scorpio full moon for his chart then? Like what do you think we can like, you know, see in the sense like what is your thought on that?
So his 10th house is really interesting to me because he is known as a real estate mogul. Like,
Yeah.
he's president and whatever, but he's still trying to build
Yeah.
ballroom.
Yeah.
He's still building and putting his name on things. So I think what we would say in this, like, even though the fourth house is what is being illuminated right now, that light has to be cast somewhere. And it's
Right.
going to put pressure on things that are being built
Okay.
because of that opposition. Oppositions in astrology usually reflect conflict or confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
So in this particular case, I would say, like, the breaking of ground illuminates what we're trying to build.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So 10th house is normally the career house, right? Like it is
Yeah.
traditionally, yeah. For him, it has like is it like his kind of like does he have benefits in the career house? Because his career like I mean, I want to say that how like he's always been like marred with bankruptcy, including the current nation is probably going to go through a bankruptcy. Like the reason why I say that, guys, please don't expect that we are going to come out of it like with like once he goes and things are going to be magically different. It's never going to happen that way. Okay, it's going to be a recovery period because
Rome wasn't
I
built in a day.
right, and also the fact that I do consider as somebody who looks at the broader pattern is the 20 like the his first term is kind of a preview of his second term, like in terms of effects and in terms of like the damage that could happen. So and the first term damage wasn't small. He killed like so many people like died because of this how he handled the pandemic. So and then we went through almost a recession in the way like at least we recovered like just because everybody else in the world was also going through recession, that doesn't mean that like he didn't do anything to cause it. He did, right? And the fact that he didn't handle it the way, and we paid the cost for that. I consider that as a preview of what is his second term is going to have an effect on, and it may have an effect on for like long after he's gone,
Mhm.
because that is how much the damage is. So we are not going to get out of it right away. Like, I
We're in it
am,
for the long haul, baby.
yeah, we have to do our part. And the thing is that I know my love is tough. Broom closet briefing is not where I'm going to coddle you. I'm going to tell you that please don't sit and think that democracy should work because it was supposed to. There's no such thing outside this country. In the greater part of the world, every single country has to work towards keeping up their democracy, right? I am telling you, in my current home state, in where I was born and brought up in, and I voted two times at least, in India. They are right now literally fighting because the opposition party is capturing the voting booths. Can you imagine that? In India, in US, no, because other part of the bigger democracies, there we have all these problems, and they're like literally having like people coming in, capturing the booth where people are literally in line to vote for, like they're waiting to cast their vote. And there are goons coming in. I know you guys talk about the ICE is going to be here and they're going to intimidate. They're not going to stop people from vote. That happens in some other part of the world too, guys, and we are still, people are still going, showing up in droves to cast their vote. They want their voice to be heard. So we cannot give up just because it feels difficult at this point, right? Especially with the Voting Rights Act being gutted so much. This was an expected ruling. And I've told you guys many times, like, you have to look at who John Roberts is to do that. Now, what do? We have to put our mouth where, I mean, and money at the same place. So, getting more people in the progressive state houses will help. And so that we can gradually, like, not, it will be again long game. We have to play the long game. I think Democrats ignored the South as of 2010 in a way that Republicans literally captured the South, and we can't have that mistake being repeated. I think Ken Martin is doing a better job in like getting more Democrats like registered in those states to be like running as candidates. So he's not perfect, but he's doing something. All right, go ahead, Jenny. I'm done with my ranting. I will.
No, I love your rant. I was sitting here as like a captive audience, just being like, yeah, girl, go ahead, tell them. So the other things I think to think about when it comes to like going back to what you were saying about like the bankruptcies and things like that he's known about with the Taurus builder in the 10th house. There's a couple of different things that we could look at. And as you were talking, I was actually like, I was listening, but I was also kind of thinking in my head, like how these things would work together. And the first thing that I thought of is, well, what is the rulership of Venus? Or what is the rulership of Taurus? But it's Venus.
Yes.
And his Venus is over here in the 12th house. 12th
Ah.
house is self-undoing.
Mhm.
It is going to be bankruptcies. It's going to be things that are, I don't want to say corrupt because that's not always the case. But the 12th house isn't like an easy house. It's not
Yeah.
like we're not going there to vacation.
Mm.
Um,
I have Pluto in my 12th house.
yeah, I have Pluto in my first, so I feel how that goes for you. It's can be very it's icky. The
Yeah,
12th house, like
it's
people,
icky. Is that's why I can never be friends with my exes.
yeah, exactly. Screw
Once,
those people.
once
Um,
I'm done. Like I can never. No, I'd probably go delete them or probably like in some way softly curse them or something. I don't know.
yeah, no, I'm running right there with you. The thing is that when it comes to 12th house, like my students will ask me, they'll come to me and they'll be like, Jenny, we don't understand what the 12th house is. Can you explain the 12th house? And my answer is always the same. What do you know about the 12th house? And they'll say nothing. And I'll say, you understand it just fine.
Yeah, yeah.
You are anything that exists in the 12th house, you're not going to understand. You're not going to get.
Yeah.
So if you have Pluto in the 12th house, any power struggles that you engage with, you're going to be like 8 of Cupsing it and walking away.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, I'm not gonna have this.
Yeah.
So when we consider that in Trump's chart, things like, things like, speaking and thinking
Mhm.
are gonna be kind of a challenge for him because that's not something that he necessarily understands.
Mhm.
Um, Saturn, accountability, never matter.
Never mattered. Mhm.
Venus, women. Oh, ah,
Makes
I go
sense, makes sense.
like,
Make
it's like, that's a lot, right?
Yeah.
Just those 3 planets in his 12th house, in the house of maternity, nurturing through Cancer, like,
Mm.
that in and of itself is gonna be like, "Girl, yikes."
Yikes, yeah.
And then
Yeah,
when we look at the bounds, which are these little divisions up here, we
yeah,
can see that his, Venus, which rules his 10th house,
yeah.
is actually in the bounds of Saturn, and
Mhm,
his MC is actually in the bounds of Saturn. So when
mhm,
we break it down like that, we can see that there's a lot of restriction that's going on. So even though Trump loves gold,
uh-huh.
everything he touches.
It's an Midas touch.
Yeah, it's like, Rogue
Yeah,
from X-Men.
yeah,
Everything he touches just crumbles and withers away.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I call that anti-Midas touch, like gold will turn into copper or something.
Yeah, like, and it just like, I just envision everything, literally everything he puts his hands on, it just turns to ash and flutters off into the wind. And
Got
it's
it.
because of that, um, decaying quality
Yeah,
of Saturn.
yeah. So Jonathan is asking, when is he going to disappear from the public view for good? Not
Not
necessarily.
soon enough.
Yeah. I think maybe July. I kind of think that July, like after his this birthday, um, can you tell me, Jenny, what is his perfection year he's going on after his birthday in June? Maybe
Oh,
that.
you know what? I don't have the chart in front of me.
Okay, okay, all right. Okay, maybe I can look it up
Yeah.
on my when I have a lot of free time. Sometimes that can give like I'm learning about the perfection here because of thanks to Jenny again, and kind of like a little bit of illuminating like knowledge for me in the sense that I found out a lot of things about my perfection years going back to like years back on how things have been maturing for me. But I would say that maybe June or July is what I have got, where he is going to be gradually like, because if you guys go back and read that really long reading I did versus last year, like he is actually going to be faded out. And I have never I know I differ from, I've seen like other people come up to me tell me that, oh, this person says that he's going to be like just dead and gone. I don't, I have not seen that. And we all have our perspectives and how we are interpreting it. Even though we might have been tapping into the same knowledge, I do think that we interpret it differently. To me, if he just goes away from public, like that is good enough for me. I really don't care about his physical mortality, right? I
Right.
mean, I know
We're
I
all gonna die.
right. And I know I had that dream where I was him and I woke up with like my entire right side paralyzed. I still think about that dream, and that was back in 2021, I
Wow.
think. It was after he even left office. If 21 or 2019, one of those years. I had multiple dreams about him during that time. And I'm like, 2020, I think it was 2021, because I was like, why did I dream about this guy? He's gone. And I remember having that dream where I woke up from a surgery and somebody was saying, sir, you can't move because your right side is totally paralyzed. I'm like, why is it calling sir? Like in my dream, I'm very aware that
Mhm.
I am him, but in reality, I am not him. So that's
Right.
that weird feeling. So I do think there is some kind of, if I take it literally, it is some kind of medical event or surgery that keep makes him not be able to function. Like they
Mhm.
cannot even prop him up on a wheelchair to even like keep him as a figurehead. So
Right.
I think I do think that it would be sometimes in summer months. So we'll look at it, but uh, it will be, I don't know. Don't ask me conspiracy or not, that whether somebody would cause it. I have no idea. He's an old guy. Things can happen.
Yeah. My I really I know astrology is all about like trying to make predictions and things like that, but I am the first one to tell you I don't know what's going
Yeah.
on. What I think is safe to say though, that once Jupiter hits that 23rd degree of Cancer, we will understand a little bit more about how this is going to develop.
Yeah.
My own research it does agree with yours as far as like the whole idea of fading out, but the parallels that I've drawn through the French Revolution,
Mhm.
this is kind of like the part where we are in Napoleon II, where he's come back for his 100 days, and unfortunately, Trump's 100 days is lasting like 9 million lifetimes.
Yeah, yeah, it's
And eventually, he's driven off onto the island, right?
yeah.
I am of the opinion that whatever happens, I don't know that he'll be actually removed from office. Like, actually removed. I think JD Vance or someone else is in behind the scenes calling the shots. But I don't think that they are going to remove him as figurehead because he's too charismatic and they can't get JD Vance the support that they think they need. So they're just going to let him be crazy. That's what I think. And then when everything is all said and done, if he manages to live out these next 2 years and he is actually removed from office per the Constitution, he is just going to go off into the sunlight and die somewhere in Greenland, which would be funny. But some like he will be exiled. There's a level of exile that I feel is coming more than like a big dramatic event.
I see. I see. Okay. I think maybe I differ here a little bit because of that dream.
No, I mean, it's like I said, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not psychic. I'm just
Right.
like, oh, this is what makes sense to me based on the information that I have in
No,
front
I
of me.
know, I know. And the fact that I don't also consider myself psychic. I just kind
Yeah,
of try to kind of based on piece it together based on what I'm seeing versus what makes sense that is realistic to
yeah,
happen. Right.
yeah.
So I can
That
see like
Qatari jet. I'm
right.
telling you, that Qatari jet has a role left to play in
Oh,
that.
of course, no character is introduced in this story for that it doesn't have a part. Of course, it does. I can totally say that. Of course.
I know we're going to be in like the series finale, and
Yeah.
we're thrown all the way back to episode 1 where we get the Qatari jet.
Yep. I know that one is waiting to happen. Um, if Vance is calling the shots, do you think the Republicans in Congress know, or just the cabinet and inner circle? What do you think, Jenny?
I think it's more unofficial. I think
Yeah.
that there were probably back channel and behind the scenes talks that
Mm.
were likely to have said, I don't think he's all there, and I don't think he's doing good.
Yeah.
So maybe we just do what we're supposed to do
Mm.
as like reasonable people,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then we'll let him know. And in the meantime, he can watch um videos of stuff being blown up
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because that's what he does. He watches 2-minute video instead of getting presidential briefings. He gets 2-minute
Because
videos 3 times a week
yeah.
of like, this is how good the it's all propaganda. Like they're propagandizing him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Maria is saying, is Hexeth calling the shots? What I have found in his cabinet, there is definitely two camps, a distinct two camps.
Yeah.
One is Stephen Miller's, and the other one is JD Vance's. They
Yes.
don't get along, and I know that because during when he was firing his people, like cabinet people, it really mattered which camp you belong to. If you belong to a vice president's camp, you will probably be safe from being fired. So the reason why I say this is, Dan Driscoll, right? The guy who heads the one of his Pentagon. I mean, he's cabinet, but then he's not.
He's like
He
an
doesn't.
undersecretary.
Right. He's not. He doesn't report to Trump directly. He reports to Hexeth for
Okay.
some
Yeah, yeah.
reason. I have to check that. Don't quote me on that. I'll check it. But Dan Driscoll, if Hexeth gets fired, then Dan Driscoll is gonna take over. So like he can take over as the Pentagon chief now. Hexet was freaking out a few weeks ago because Driscoll is close to JD Vance's, like he's in the JD camp, and he is in the Stephen Miller camp. So, and Stephen Miller is being hated across the country at this point. Like people cannot stand him. So I think his camp is getting weakened and weakened at this point. So if you are anywhere closer to Miller, then you are probably at the risk of losing your job at this point. So I think Hexet is trying to play both sides in a way so that he can keep his job. I'm telling you, Trump is not super happy with what Hexet is doing in the sense, because that's why he hung him up as the meat, that he's the one who kind of instigated for this whole Iran thing, right? Remember that he was telling, oh, they came to us and said, you have to do it, sir, because, for whatever, 47 years, blah, blah, blah. And that is why, he's clearing his own route so that anybody who comes, because he was asked that question in that other day on his budget hearing thing that a couple of days ago that happened in the with the Congress, right? Somebody asked him, like, were you the one who asked him to, invade Iran? And then he said, oh no, he gets it from everybody. Why would I be the only person, blah blah blah, to tell him, right? It's because he is literally putting him as the person eventually to be blamed for the Iran fiasco.
Exactly. Exactly. That is the malignant narcissism.
Yeah.
At work, where he is going to say, well, I was just heading this place up. I let them call the shots.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what's going to happen. And Hegseth knows, like, Hegseth is a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But super dumb is not one of them.
Yeah.
And he knows what he's done.
Yeah.
Which is why we saw the performance that we saw earlier this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's why he is so confrontational in his approach with media.
Yeah.
Because he, as being a media guy,
yeah, he's been a media guy. Yeah,
it thinks that he knows that this is what's going to sell, and it is bananas to me.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I mean, bananas to me.
Yeah,
that these people who are media people think that this is selling.
I mean, this is. I mean, the fact that American media has been kind of like I want to say like a neutered body for a while. Like even when like it was a Democratic president in there, I never saw media being doing the media job, like asking harder questions. Like I have been in this country for 16 years, guys, like 4 presidential cycles, and I have followed it pretty closely, and I never saw media's like role to be doing real journalism even then, even when things were not like this. Like that's why people confuse, like, are you you should be giving us the headlines. No, a journalist's work is also to write opinion pieces where things are going from a perspective of somebody who has seen the things happening on the ground.
Yeah, someone who has access.
Right. What you are saying that, oh, I just want news headlines. You're asking for a reporter. Reporter is a very different kind of journalist. Journalism is the big umbrella. And here I barely see anybody doing that, because they also did not really ask hard questions to Biden in that matter as well. When Biden was president, they were not doing like probing questions with him as well. I never saw that. They didn't do that with Harris as well when she was like mainly in the forefront. I would give it to like that they don't definitely capitulate more to Trump, because he can take away their job or whatever for some reason that they're scared. But they didn't do that when a Democratic president was there. They didn't do that during Barack Obama as well. Like I mean, the red media, like with the the red capitulated media, Fox News would do that because they are there to do that. Like that's their primary job. Journalism isn't, right? But the neutral ones also did not do their job as much as they should have during any presidential like cycles that I have witnessed. So
were you around for Clinton?
No, I was in.
Okay. So I think especially after 9/11, and this is just way off the ramp here, but I think after 9/11 and Monica Lewinsky, everybody was just kind of like, oh my God, it's too much. It's castle drama, and we just can't, like, we can't consume any more of it. But I agree very much to the effect that it became less about informing the public and much more about scandal, because
Scandals. Yeah.
scandal is what sold.
Yeah, and literally making news out of your ass or something. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's like you have to just like be sensational, otherwise nobody is going to read, and then it became a 24/7 news cycle. Like,
Mhm.
I remembered growing up in India, we had news at what, in the morning and then in the evening, just that two times. I know that Indian media now does that. Oh my god, you have to see this because this is just what is happening, it's nothing, okay, nothing. But still, it's like five different headlines in the 6 p.m. news, and then at 8 p.m. news I have five other headlines which are
Mhm.
completely like nobody should care about them, but those are breaking news, right? You
Yeah.
have to make, you have to kind of make news out, like pull them out of your ass or something, or some like that kind of a thing. Because that's why I feel like we are being overwhelmed, overloaded with information, and a lot of them are really noise. We don't really need that much to be overwhelmed with. Like, for example, I'll give you a very big example that right now in the house we have five or six bills about Trump, like putting his name on the dollar bill, or putting his face on the what is that, Mount Rushmore. All of these stupid bills are there. Doesn't matter if it's there, because they are not gonna get passed with such a like a tiny majority in Congress, or it's in Senate. Nobody fucking cares about that. So why is this a news that is being reported where people are like, "Oh my god, what, why?" You don't need that noise. I mean, that's fine. There are like hundreds of bills that stay there and die there, and nobody gives a flying f about that. This should not be a headline that people should care about. I mean, in the sense that, yeah, Republicans are unserious people to govern this country. Okay, that's
Mhm.
about it, and we already know that, and we don't need to like go and kind of like dig more into it. It's, yeah, exactly, news by gossip. That's right, Maria. You're
A couple weeks ago, I wrote something about, like, last year I initially wrote something about Venus entering, not Venus, Uranus entering Gemini,
yeah,
as kind of like the precursor. And then I just wrote like a little blurb when it actually picked up a little bit ago. And I was specifically mentioning in that that our, especially with like this Aquarius eclipse
yeah,
back in
yep,
February,
yeah,
like it's collectivist thinking, but it's also interconnectedness.
hmm,
We as a entire world
yeah,
are more interconnected now than we have
ever
ever
thought,
been
yeah,
before.
yeah,
And we are seeing cultural collisions online, because it's like, with me being me being super white and from Pittsburgh, I'm like, I'm just doing the best that I can because I don't know what the real world is like, right? And then you have your experiences that you very graciously reminded me of earlier with the British colonizations and things like that. And it's like, oh, right. Now, if I am someone who is a little bit more closed-minded, I may have pushed back on something like that. But and I think that my reason for bringing that up is I think that that is what we are seeing online, as eventually more and more and more information with this uh, Uranus and Gemini transit goes through, we're going to be brought closer and closer and closer together
yeah.
through new forms of communication and understanding, like, oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Maybe someone else's experience is valid?
Hmm, yeah,
Surely you must be insane,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And as we understand the legitimacy of other people's experiences more,
yeah,
that progressive nature is eventually just, I think, is going to rise to the top.
yeah,
It's just going to take a lot of time, a lot of patience, and a lot of noise
yeah, I
for
agree.
people who are already clued into it.
I agree. I agree. And I feel like I see, like I have a very different degree that I anyways, so I talk with a lot of people who would ridicule what I do here. Okay, I can give you that. But the fact that they would say things like, oh, I want to make fact based decisions, the facts that are right in front of me. That is true. But then when you gather your fact based decisions is dependent on the volume of facts that you currently have.
Right.
Once you have facts that are bigger than that, you should be flexible to change your mind about certain things, right? That it will be the right way to say I want to make fact based decisions. It's like
Mhm,
you have the fact A, which made you, because that is what science is. Science is
mhm.
very flexible to prove and disprove its prior theorems and all of those things, right? So if you want to be scientific, then you also should be flexible that when you have more information, you are willing to change your mind based on that information. I
Yeah, I
think.
totally agree.
Right. And I always have this back and forth with like my friends group who are like, they work in technology, they work in like just like me, and they would be like, "Oh, yeah, I know this is all fine, but I don't believe in it just because these are not fact based." First of all, astrology is pretty fact based. I don't know what that and that is totally different. But I would say that then that means you should be open to change your mind when you have available when you have the availability of more facts. Otherwise, you are in a cult. And I would say science can also become a cult because you just don't want to change your mind from what the scientific proof it was to prove something else. Now we know more, and that scientific theorem proves that the previous one was wrong. This is the new proof. So if you don't want to change it to the new one just because we have more experimental data and whatever, that means you are in a cult that you don't want to change your mind. So like it is like I think Uranus in Gemini, like I really agree with you, is where we will be able to make decision based on like putting our foot in other people's shoes in that
Mhm.
way, like their experiences, to kind of like take people's, that also kind of goes hand in hand with the Pluto in Aquarius thing, where masses are coming together and understanding each other's like point of view,
Mhm.
and gathering because we have more in common than we don't, right? So I
And that
think.
collectivist thinking too, that
Yeah.
that Pluto in Aquarius right now is actually trining Uranus and Gemini. So there's a lot of help
Yeah.
for that sort of foundation to be set,
Right.
where people are starting to maybe ask questions that are a little off the wall.
Off of.
Um,
Yeah.
things that, but one of the concerns that I do have is that um, one of the videos that I did last week consisted of me talking about Uranus and Gemini and how it has a tendency to mirror Pluto in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
Pluto is something that is, whenever it goes into a new house, whenever it goes into anything, um, it's almost like it does a flip flop,
Hmm.
but it's put over a very long course of time. So it will make things that were really big very small, and things that were very small very big. And again, this is like an unraveling over the course of many, many years. Uranus doesn't do that. Uranus just takes everything and flips it upside down just to be funny and see what happens.
Yeah, because it also rotates like this, right, instead of like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So it just
So
wants
I
to be
think that
it
I think
definitely it definitely flipped my life upside down, I can tell you that for sure.
right? Yeah. It'll get you. It'll get you.
I know.
I kind of look at Uranus as very electric and agitating.
Mhm.
It's almost like, in my mind, it's almost like the planet itself vibrates, and when it has kind of like that shadowy subjugation coming from Aquarius,
Yeah.
that is that beam that Pluto's going to just shoot right up to Uranus is going to be kind of like um, a trigger effect,
Yeah.
and where the masses are just going to say, you know what, it's enough, and we are going to pull our voices together, and you can't separate us.
Yeah, makes sense. Maria is asking, Uranus in Gemini also not very empathic, right? What do you think? Is it empathic?
Like empathetic, like
Yeah,
there's no
yeah,
empathy.
yeah.
Um, I would say that that really depends on how it hits the individual's chart.
Okay.
I think, because Uranus is very challenging. It's very intellectual, and it wants to challenge everything that it's given.
Yeah.
I think that there are, some people with stronger influences might say, I'm going to challenge what I think, and I'm going to try a little bit harder to understand what's going on, because it is that disruptive factor. I think other people, um, depending again on how it hits your chart, it might close your mind a little bit and say, and immediately make you kind of like I was saying, Eight of Cups, or
Yeah.
like that's not for me.
Yeah.
That's like that, like you're just wrong. You
Yeah.
can't. And in that case, that close-mindedness
Yeah.
is what's disruptive.
Yeah. 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 I
But
mean,
I think it can be very empathetic.
for my life, it was not at all empathetic. I mean, if you
Mhm.
guys want to know, Uranus entered Taurus in 2018. That's when actually I met my husband. We started dating almost the exact same month it entered my sign, and then he is a white American, which didn't bode well with my family. Like newsflash, my mom didn't really want me to marry him because he was not a Brahmin and Hindu and from my culture. So they quietly removed themselves from this thing for a while. And at that time, that was my whole sense of safety as my family, right? And all of a sudden, it was gone. Like they were not there, they were not very interested, kind of removed. And I got married to my husband and we moved to our new home. And it felt like as a complete stranger in that environment for a while, because I was literally making a family from scratch in a foreign land, right? So it
Yeah,
was,
and that's really interesting too, because it's your seventh house. And seventh house is relationships and how we deal with interpersonal people. And
yeah.
there was a disruption of that in a very Taurus type way.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, Taurus is in my sixth house. Taurus is probably my sixth house, and it is like my work and everything, and my family and my sense of security and all of those things. And my family was a big like influence in my life. I want to say, like, as Indian kids grew up in the 90s India, even though you live far away from your family in a different country, they are very much intertwined in your life on a day-to-day basis. And I all of a sudden didn't have it anymore. And then I lost my dad to cancer the following year. So it was like one after the other, like family thing that was going away. But in the same year, I actually got a lot of recognition in my work. Like in terms of my work, I kind of got a lot, like I got promotions in my work and was doing really well, in the sense like company wide recognition and all of those things also happened. I also had my son the the 7 year period as well. So literally a different family from what I was used to. And I think I did lose my job at the in the middle of last year. That was when again Uranus was in the last degrees of Taurus, guys. Oh my God, that one hits me so hard. That's when my job was gone, right before it left and then dipped into Gemini. That's when my long term 10-year job was taken away. So it did hit me very, very hard. I can literally feel, and I'm very happy I'm not going to be alive to see it again coming back in my house. Seriously, I mean, I really not. I mean, I think it also did give me a lot of growth and showed me my resilience in a way that what I can or cannot do, even when I'm like kind of left alone in a way. And I think that is good. So just apart from the physical blows, I guess that would be good.
It's
Yeah.
really interesting to hear you say that too, because with the Scorpio rising in a whole sign system, your seventh house will be Taurus. And
Mhm,
as Uranus would be passing through that seventh house of yours, it's applying that opposition to you and your
mhm,
ascendant, and it's
mhm.
challenging you.
Yeah.
And it's saying, let's dig deep. Let's
Mhm,
excavate this Scorpio stuff
mhm.
and see let's see what you're really made of. And you were able to find out. And I think that's terrific. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Jonathan. I mean, I pray that for myself almost every single day. Jonathan say, I pray your job does become something steady again. I'm like, I pray that for myself every
It will.
single
It
day.
will. It will.
I'm putting in a good karma. As a growing up in a Hindu Brahmin family, I think the only thing I'm taking with myself is karma, and from my teaching, I haven't given it up because I do think that, because it's Newton's third law of motion. Like you,
Mhm,
whatever you set in motion for every action, there's a, if not equal, there is an opposite reaction. Like I
mhm.
guess equal if it's in vacuum, but nothing happens in vacuum. So there is an opposite reaction, so something comes back. If you put out like 100 something, at least 60 comes back. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
So you're just accumulating good karma, and I do think that Uranus in Gemini and the Pluto in Aquarius is also about putting in good karma. I mean, if in that philosophy, I'm saying, like, if you have done good things, you are probably going to be okay, even though the entire world could be in fire. So
I don't know a lot about Hindu, but I do kind of get with the fact of Brahman is Atman and
yeah,
Atman is Brahman.
yeah,
And I think that really factors in to this whole Uranus and Gemini thing because it, it does take it takes village. We're all in this together.
yeah,
Like I might be sitting over here in my house, but you're sitting over there in yours,
yeah,
and
we're doing
we're
this.
we're both here.
Yeah, yeah,
So we may as well kumbaya.
yeah,
We may as
yeah,
well have a good time and like try to lift each other up as
yeah.
opposed to create a stupid war in Iran.
I know, and the thing is that that is also not happening in vacuum. Like I think somebody was showing me the other day. Did you see his astrocartography? Like his one of his, I think it was either his,
Yeah,
is the
yeah,
one line that goes through the state of Hormuz.
yeah,
You cannot make this shit up. Like it is literally there. Like his karmic something is tied to that place, and like in my Hindu philosophy, they taught us that all the things that you do, you have to kind of. If you have debt, then you have to pay it in this
right,
life itself, right? You
right.
cannot, like, it's not like you can come back in a different life and be a mosquito and then kind of pay off that debt or something.
By
But you
getting
have
smushed.
right, but
Yeah,
you have to pay that. Like I don't, I'm not sure if I totally believe in that, but it kind of makes sense that you have gotten this physical self in this. If you believe in rebirth, like in this birth, in this lifetime, if you have this physical self, anything you're putting it is through this like this container, right? So that container has to take whatever comes with it. So I agree to that. Like you cannot have like subject another container just because you did something bad, and so it's gonna be like your repayment in the other time. No, I don't think that would
right.
be fair enough, right? So the fact is, like, somebody's going to pay for their sins or whatever that matters. The person, if you get to like witness the justice, that is a question that we can that is a big ask, I think. Like
Yes.
yeah.
I always tell like in the same vein of this, I tell my friends and I tell my clients, I was like, just the magic is the patience. Like you've got to be patient.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
just put it out there, ask for justice and be patient because it'll come. You might not
yeah,
see it.
yeah,
It might not be in this lifetime, but it's coming for them. And you just find solace in that and go about your business. Like
yeah,
it'll
yeah.
come. It'll
And this
it'll get there.
and the same thing is for this guy as well, whose chart we are looking at. I mean,
Correct.
he's gonna get his payment, guys, and
Oh,
it
he's
is
gonna suffer so bad.
and it's maybe not the exact thing that we want for him, but it is coming. Like there is no way to like escape that. Like maybe we all want prison for him, that may not be in his chart, but maybe there is something that is actually more devastating to him than we can think of. Like I mean, on the top of my mind, I think he really is scared to die, guys.
I
Like
think if we put ourselves, God forbid, if we put ourselves in the mind frame of somebody like Donald Trump and we sit and we think of like what is the worst thing that could possibly happen to him? It's losing attention. It's no one looking at him.
yeah,
It's him literally, like I said earlier, being exiled and not having a video camera, a cell phone,
yeah,
or even a surveillance camera
yeah,
looking at him.
looking at it, yeah,
Just letting him die in a padded cell all by himself.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. And I like somebody that saying the other day, I think was having this conversation with a friend, and she was like, maybe we associate Trump, the name, with like something stupid. Like you have trumped yourself or something like that. I think even that would be kind of a good
I used it like that the other day with a friend. I was like, that sounds Trumpy.
Yeah, I think he would like that. Like I don't even want that for him. You know, like if he, I don't want his name associated with anything, good or bad. Like he's completely gone, and history will probably forget him in a way because he wants to be this guy, Napoleon or Alexander or whatever. Like he's saying that he is one of those guys.
I'm the
That is,
most powerful person who's ever lived.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, congrats. You're
Yeah,
go shit yourself.
yeah. Because he's already doing it like probably every
Yeah,
single day.
you got so much power you can't control your bowels.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, we got to wrap up because it's already past 12. So I know it's really late at Jenny's, but I'm saying that thank you guys if you joined. And I am actually going to upload this to my channel. And I am also actually going to upload it to my very new YouTube channel because I never plan to do any long form video on YouTube. But once we do these lives, these are good enough information that needs to go because if you want to follow me on YouTube, it's fine. But I'm not gonna do long form videos in that. I don't think I have equipment or time or uh aesthetics to do that.
Desire.
Or desire. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
like, I
yeah.
just don't feel like it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I
This was a
think
great conversation, though. Thank you so much.
I'm glad you joined. If this is gonna be a success, we can have this at least twice a month or at least once a month. I mean,
Mhm.
depending on how where we are in the sense. And I would like to do that on Fridays 11 if that time works for Jenny. Then and we are definitely gonna have a full moon and a new moon and to talk about the situation of our country and because we have to push it. And if you don't like astrology tarot, that's fine. You don't have to join us. Just don't be mean and
Or be mean, I don't care.
I mean if you're mean then I just have to block you and you will probably never see our faces again, so that's about it. So all right, thank you guys. I will try to answer if any questions we didn't answer later, or I'll pick it for my reading, or Jenny can also pick it from here for reading, like if those are like pressing questions. And we will be back next time, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, guys.
All right, how do I? Okay, there you go.